Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Battle Through the Heavens based on novel. So let's start. Xiao Yan's expression was somewhat gloomy as he watched these two human figures that had suddenly appeared. These two individuals had white hair. They were wearing grayish-white robes. A pair of wings were gently being flapped on the backs of these two old fellows. A faint lightning sound vaguely resounded. Xiao Yan had seen this pair of wings on Huang Xian. Hence, he also understood that these two people were likely experts from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. 2 5-star dozens. Xiao Yan's eyes swept over these two indifferent-looking old men. His heart sunk involuntarily. The strength of these two were not inferior to old ghost Jiaxing. This Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe was indeed worthy of being one of the 3 top tribes of the magical beast world. 2 experts of such a level had actually appeared together. Is this reinforcements from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe? That old fellow Huang Xian was actually purposefully delaying time until the arrival of the reinforcements. Xiao Yan's eyes flickered rapidly. His fist also suddenly tightened. The bone wings of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe, brat, your boldness is really great. An old man wearing a grayish-white robe glanced at Xiao Yan before pausing his eyes on the pair of bone wings on the latter's back. The corner of his eyes were lifted slightly as he spoke in an indifferent voice. Xiao Yan's eyes were gloomy. His body pulled back slightly. 2 5-star dozens and an old ghost Jiaxing looking with ill intent from the side. If the situation was not handled well today, it was likely that he would really end up dying today. There is no need for any unnecessary words. Capture this brat, tear the bone wings off and bring him back to the tribe to be punished. The other elder from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe spoke with a cold expression. We must heavily punish such actions. Otherwise, how can we deter others in the future? It's just as well. We'll capture him, cripple his do chi, and let him kneel in the tomb for his entire life. The grayish-white robed elder nodded. A cold glint flashed within his eyes. The Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe greatly valued the corpse of their tribe members. Anyone who dares to commit even the slightest blasphemy against a corpse of a tribe member will be chased by them with a murderous intent. This had resulted in them having not met anyone who dared to use the wings of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe to create a flying do skill for many years. Xiao Yan was the first today. Xiao Yan involuntarily laughed furiously when he heard the decision of these two old fellows that were made as though no one else was present. He curled his hand and 3 types of heavenly flame gathered. After which, it formed a beautiful exquisite fire lotus rapidly. A trace of destructive force quietly spread from it when the fire lotus was formed. This caused the energy of this place to fluctuate intensely. The 2 elders from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe were also startled when they sensed the might of the fire lotus in Xiao Yan's palm. A low and deep exclamation was emitted from their mouths. They were clearly very surprised that Xiao Yan was actually able to use a do skill of such might. 2 misters, this is a fire lotus that is formed from the merger of 3 types of heavenly flames. Do not underestimate it. Old ghost Jiaxing in the distance watched the fire lotus in Xiao Yan's hands with horrified eyes before issuing a warning. Yes. The 2 of them nodded indifferently, but did not respond. Their eyes stared at Xiao Yan and said, the old me also sensed the smell of the demon phoenix essence blood. Rat, you have broken all the taboos of my Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. Xiao Yan was expressionless. He flicked his finger and the fire lotus in his hand rose. After which, it was accompanied by a fire tail as it gently rushed towards the 2 old men. The 2 old men let out a cold snort when they saw the fire lotus rushing over. Vast ocean-like powerful do chi surged out from the bodies of the 2 of them like a volcano. It vaguely gathered and formed an unusually large heaven phoenix shape above their heads. Explode. Xiao Yan laughed coldly when he saw this. A thought passed through his heart, and the fire lotus that flew close to those 2 instantly bloomed. Immediately, a bang sounded as it exploded in an earth-shaking manner. Humph, Demon Phoenix Bell. The expressions of those 2 elders sunk as the frightening fire storm swept over. They formed some mysterious seals with their hands with lightning-like speed. Within the blink of an eye, it formed a 1,000 feet large energy bell in the mid-air, completely covering the firestorm that had swept over. Clang! The firestorm heavily collided onto the wall, and the energy of this entire place became restless at this moment. A thunder-like metallic sound resounded beside everyone's ears, causing the do chi within their bodies to tremble intensely. A frightening firestorm spread inside the demon phoenix bell. That destructive force ruthlessly collided onto the walls of the bell. Glaring sparks appeared as the demon phoenix bell shook continuously. There was actually a slight crack line vaguely spreading within it. The expressions of those two elders changed slightly when they saw the tiny crack line spreading on the demon phoenix bell. They felt some disbelief within their hearts. The demon phoenix bell that was created by the two of them together could trap a 5-star dozun. Yet, it was currently showing signs of cracking apart in the hands of a little fellow, whose aura was that of a mere 3-star dozun. This brat is a little strange. The two elders exchanged looks and gently nodded. They waved their sleeves. Vast and mighty do chi swiftly surged out from within their bodies. After which, it was poured into the demon phoenix bell, causing the enormous bell to emit a kind of unusual luster. Explode! Xiao Yan's expression sunk slightly as he watched the firestorm that was being trapped within the bell. A thought passed through his mind, and the might of the fire lotus suddenly erupted completely. Clang! 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 The firestorm collided wildly on the enormous bell, emitting a deafening earth-shaking noise. At the same time, it caused the demon phoenix bell to tremble intensely. Bang! The two heaven demon phoenix tribes elders once again had a change in expression when they saw the demon phoenix bell trembling intensely. Before they could continue to strengthen it, however, they heard a loud bang. That incomparably solid demon phoenix bell was completely blasted apart in front of their stunned gazes. Humph! The two experts from the heaven demon phoenix tribe were implicated when the demon phoenix bell exploded. A low and deep moan was emitted from their mouths. Their feet were also shaken until they took 2 steps back. An insignificant tactic. After swiftly stabilizing their bodies, the two grayish-white clothed elders glanced at the annihilation firestorm that followed. They stood with their hands behind them and laughed coldly. However, no one saw that the hands under their sleeves had involuntarily trembled at this moment. 2 idiots. A short distance away, old Ghost Jiaxing watched these 2 experts from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe and involuntarily shook his heads. With his ability, he was naturally able to sense that these 2 old fellows had suffered some hidden losses, because they had joined hands and act strong. Seeing that the fire lotus that was formed from the merger of 3 types of heavenly flames being blocked, Xiao Yan frowned a little. He immediately glanced at those 2 elders and a cold smile involuntarily surfaced on his face as he asked, "You too, are you feeling a little terrible?" That grey-clothed old man's face sunk slightly when he heard this. He spoke faint, "Razor-tongue brat. Bring yourself with you and obediently return with us to the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. We do not wish to use force. However, you should be able to see the situation here clearly. Today, all of you will not be able to escape." A couple of figures flashed over from the mid-air when this old man's voice sounded. Finally, they paused beside Xiao Yan. They were Little Fairy Doctor's group. "We have been surrounded." Little Fairy Doctor's words caused Xiao Yan's heart to sink. Only then did he turn his gaze. He discovered that nearly 100 figures had appeared around the square at some unknown time. Powerful auras spread over the place. Clearly, this was the reinforcement that the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe had called. "This Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe really hold us in high regard," even Xiao Yan involuntarily sighed and slowly said when he saw this situation. Adding these 2 old men, who had suddenly appeared, the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe had 4 5-star dozuns. This lineup was sufficient to be worthy of the description terrifying. Although that old fellow's tone was arrogant, it must be said that the situation today really appeared as though Xiao Yang's group would have difficulty escaping. "Xiao Yang, hand over the Dragon Phoenix origin fruit. We might allow your companions to leave." Otherwise, do not blame my heaven demon phoenix tribe for engaging in a slaughter today. Huang Xian was suspended in the empty air. His arms hugged his chest as he let out a cold cry. The heaven demon phoenix tribe is really acting in a mighty manner. Ziyang laughed coldly. Huang Xian's eyes narrowed. He stared at Ziyang and slowly said, "Ancient void dragon. Indeed, we do not wish to offend you, but my heaven demon phoenix tribe will not hold back even a little for the dragon phoenix origin fruit. What should we do? This situation is bad. 4 5-star dozens. This lineup is even more frightening than when we were at the branch hall of the Hall of Soul." Tian Huazunja frowned and asked. Xiao Yan inhaled a deep breath of air. A crazy expression gradually surged up his face. If this heaven demon phoenix tribe forced him to his limit, he could only once again use the annihilation lotus flame. With his current strength, it was likely that even 4 5-star Do Zun would have difficulty blocking the annihilation lotus flame that he unleashed. Although he would directly enter a weakened state after this, he had no other choice at this critical moment. There is no need for all of you to act. Leave it to me. Ziyang appeared to be aware of Xiao Yang's thoughts. She shook her head slightly as the tattoo on her small hand wiggled. That dragon phoenix origin fruit slowly appeared. She lifted this fruit and stood in the empty space. Her eyes were cold and indifferent as he looked at Huang Xian and the 2 heaven demon phoenix tribe elders, whose eyes were covered with greed. At the same time, she coldly laughed. "The dragon phoenix origin fruit is here. Come and take it if you have the ability." Little fairy doctors group was startled when they saw Ziyang's action. They were about to speak when they were stopped by Xiao Yang at the side. The latter shook his head. Ziyang might be mischievous, but she was not a fool. She should have her reason for this action of hers. "Humph, a mere child ancient void dragon. Do you really think the old me is afraid of you?" Huang Xian's eyes exchanged looks with the 2 other heaven demon phoenix tribe elders. He nodded a little. Immediately, their bodies rushed out at the same time. The 3 of them had actually attacked together and charged at Ziyang in a ferocious manner. The speed of Huang Xian trio was extremely frightening. Within the blink of an eye, they had appeared over a dozen meters in front of Ziyang. Their eyes were crazily staring at the fruit that was emitting an unusual fragrance. Once they had this thing, a new supreme magical beast bloodline would appear in the heaven demon phoenix tribe. This kind of bloodline would be even more powerful than the ancient void dragon. The dragon phoenix origin fruit belongs to my heaven demon phoenix tribe. However, just when the hands of those 3 were about to grab the dragon phoenix origin fruit on Ziyang's little hand, the space beside Ziyang suddenly emitted a ripping sound. It split and formed a large hole. Immediately, a strong figure strided out of the space. This figure had just appeared when an extremely powerful pressure suddenly descended. Under this pressure, the faces of those heaven demon phoenix tribe experts immediately became pale. The forward-charging figures of Huang Xian trio suddenly stiffened. A shocked expression swiftly spread over their faces. A human figure appeared. Along with it, a furious domineering laughter immediately rumbled over this entire place. "Is a tribe member of my ancient void dragon tribe someone that you frivolous birds can touch?" The overbearing furious laughter was just like a thunder from the heavens that swept over the entire sky. The extremely powerful dragon's might that was contained in the furious laughter caused the Do Qi within the bodies of quite a number of people to appear a little blocked at this moment. Ancient void dragon. Huang Xian trio's eyes were shocked as they looked at the strong figure, which had stepped out from within the spatial crack line. A horror finally surged up their hearts. Although the heaven demon phoenix tribe was a tip tribe that was on par with the ancient void dragon in the magical beast world, they understood that the ultimate being in the magical beast world had always been the ancient void dragon. Although the heaven demon phoenix tribe had been tolerating this position for many years, they still did not dare to perform even the slightest unusual activity. During the ancient times, even their ancestors, the heaven phoenix tribe, had difficulty suppressing the ancient void dragon, much less they, the descendants of these heaven phoenix. Huang Xian trio could still put on a strong front when facing Ziyang, who was a child ancient void dragon. However, in front of a true matured ancient void dragon, that strong front had disappeared faster than anything else. The three of them swiftly exchanged glances. Do Chi suddenly surged within their bodies as they forcefully tried to escape from the solidified space. Their bodies flashed and they withdrew explosively. However, the three of them had just moved when the strong human figure that had strided out of some space let out a cold laughter. He strided forward and his large hand violently slammed downwards across the distant space. After which, everyone was stunned to see that a clear sound was suddenly emitted from the faces of Huang Xian trio. A blood-red palm imprint had appeared on the faces of the three of them. Huang Xian trio immediately spat out a mouthful of fresh blood after this palm slammed downwards. Their bodies flew backwards, appearing as though they had suffered a heavy blow. Finally, he violently landed on the ground in front of the shocked gazes from the many experts of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. The frightening force smashed the incomparably hard square until three enormous deep pits were formed. Hiss! Everyone violently inhaled a breath of cool air as they watched Huang Xian trio, who were lying in the deep pit while being covered with fresh blood. Cold sweat continued to flow on the face of Feng Qing'er's group. A terrified expression was present. Three experts, who had reached the strength of a 5-star Dozun, were actually unable to even endure a slap from that ancient void dragon. Xiao Yan's group in the sky was also speechless at this scene. They faced each other. After which, they watched the strong back beside Zi Yang. Their hearts were completely shaken. Was this the strength of a matured ancient void dragon? It was indeed frightening. According to Xiao Yang's guess, it was likely that the strength of this ancient void dragon would have at least reached that of a 7 to 8-star Dozun level. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to easily beat up Huang Xian trio until the latter did not have any ability to retaliate. The entire sky had become quiet because of the ruthless slam. That Bing Hezunja in the distance, who was engaging in an intense battle with Tangzhen, was shocked to the point that he hurriedly stopped fighting. His forehead was covered with cold sweat. Ancient Void Dragon. This was the most mysterious magical beast tribe in the continent. Even he had hardly even seen it a couple of times. Unexpectedly, he had once again seen one today. Just who exactly is that Xiao Yang? Not only can he get the help of the Jiyu clan, but now, he can even summon an ancient void dragon over this person, cannot be offended. This thought swiftly flew within Bing Hezunja's heart. An extreme fear towards Xiao Yang had quietly surged deep within his heart at this moment. Who else dares to come snatch it? The strong figure crossed his hands across his chest and simple stood in the sky in this random manner. That incomparable overbearing feeling spread. No one in this entire square dared to open their mouth to speak. Mr. is likely an elder in from the ancient void dragon tribe. Yet, you are acting mightily in front of us, these younger generation of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. What ability do you have? The white-haired man was usually an extremely haughty individual. He involuntarily cursed quietly when he saw so many experts from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe was frightened by the expert of the other party until none of them dared to reply. Immediately, he spoke in a deep voice. Your Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe actually have the face to say such words to the old me. Those three frivolous birds earlier had done such a thing. The large man wearing a simple skin clothes on the empty space lowered his head and looked down at the white-haired man. He immediately said, those who do not wish to suffer a punch should roll aside. Don't grumble to this father. The old me already see all of you frivolous birds as an eyesore. Is this dragon phoenix origin fruit something that you can meddle with? The large man's, this father revealed his domineering aura. The faces of quite a number of people became distorted. From these words, they understood that there was no need to talk reason with him. Instead, one should use one's fist to talk. Those whose fists were not hard enough should get lost. The face of the white-clothed man alternated between green and white. He clenched his fist tightly, but did not dare to continue saying anything. Given the strength of the large man, a punch was sufficient to kill him. Huang Xian trio had finally climbed up miserably from the deep pit on the square. They wiped off the fresh blood on their faces and looked at each other. They appeared a little dispirited. It seemed that there was completely no chance to get Dragon Phoenix origin fruit. Even if the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe could really continue dispatching an expert that could match him, the ancient Void Dragon would definitely not allow the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe to obtain it, since they had already noticed the Dragon Phoenix origin fruit. Little girl, this time around, Uncle Hay is not late, right? The large man finally turned around and spoke smilingly towards Xiao Yan after deterring the entire place. There is still that old bastard. Xiao Yan turned her small hand, pointed towards old Ghost Xiaoxing a short distance away, and said. The expression of old Ghost Xiaoxing immediately changed when he saw Xiao Yan pointing over. He put up a brave front and cried out, "The old me is a member of the Hall of Soul." What nonsense, Soul! Do you think that the Hall of Soul will dare to declare war against our ancient Void Dragon if I beat you up? That large man, who called himself Uncle Hay, widened his eyes. His fan-like large hand was once again lifted and it violently slapped at old Ghost Xiaoxing from a distance. The large man waved his hand. Xiao Yang's group had sensed that an extremely mysterious ripple had suddenly been lifted in the space. It was this kind of ripple that had transmitted the frightening strength of that large man over within an instant. I have heard that the ancient Void Dragon possessed a talent to shuttle through the empty space. It is likely that their usage of spatial strength is something that no one can compare with, Xiao Yang muttered to himself within his heart. The expression of old Ghost Xiaoxing became extremely ugly when he saw the large man attacking as he pleased. Do Qi hurriedly surged out from his body and formed a defense on it. Bang! A frightening strength merged into the space almost instantly. After which, it poured onto the body of old Ghost Xiaoxing. A redness directly surged up the latter's face. A mouthful of fresh blood was also involuntarily spat out. His body also miserably staggered backwards by a couple of dozens of meters before slowly stabilizing itself. Move further away. People like you are not qualified to touch the people here. The large man's expression became cold as he cried out sternly after sending old Ghost Xiaoxing rolling away. Old Ghost Xiaoxing rubbed away the fresh blood on the corner of his mouth. He clenched his fist tightly and his eyes contained a dark chillness, as well as an unwillingness. However, it was suppressed in front of the absolute strength of the large man. He also understood that it was pointless to say anything more. Instead, it would only invite even more fists. With the help of the ancient Void Dragon today, he could only just stare at those doshing bones on Xiao Yang's body. Xiao Yang's group exchanged gazes with each other as they looked at the silent square. They let out a bitter laughter. This was definitely the absolute pressure from strength. Everything was useless in the face of true strength. Yes, you have done quite well this time around. I will not complain about you. Xiao Yang was also quite satisfied when she saw the situation. She nodded and spoke in a magnanimous manner. The large man was speechless when he heard the word complain. His face was depressed. Clearly, he had suffered quite a lot of losses. Humph, you can be considered to be quick this time around. Should anything happen to the Dragon Phoenix origin fruit, it is not something that can be made up with by confinement. Xiao Yang curled her small mouth and snorted softly. Hee hee. The large man, who called himself Uncle Hay, rubbed his head and laughed. He naturally understood the importance of the Dragon Phoenix origin fruit. If this thing was to really land in the hands of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe, those old fellows within the clan would definitely not let him off easily. Hey, this is He Qing. He is also a tribe member of the ancient Void Dragon tribe. They are my friends. Xiao Yang turned her head and smilingly spoke to Xiao Yang's group. The last sentence was naturally spoken to the large man called He Qing. Xiao Yang greets Elder He Qing. Xiao Yang cupped his hands together. He was aware that although this large man did not appear very old, he was definitely an old demon who had lived for countless number of years. Oh, you are that Xiao Yang, huh? Ah. Xiao Xian's descendant. It is unexpected that the Xiao clan can still produce such a person. It is indeed worthy of once being one of the 8 ancient clans. Unfortunately, the bloodline seemed to have turned into scrap. He Qing glanced at Xiao Yan and smilingly said. His last sentence, however, was something that only he himself could hear. Xiao Xian. 8 ancient clans. Xiao Yang was startled. He had heard the term in front. Xiao Xian, the most outstanding ancestor of the Xiao clan. However, he was a little at a loss about the term behind. When I became acquainted with that fellow Xiao Xian back then, I was almost the same age as Zi Yang. He Qing parted his mouth and smiled. He patted Zi Yang's head. However, he did not reply to the questions. Changing the topic, he waved his large hand and said, "Let's not talk anymore and leave. I will bring all of you away from here. Otherwise, these fretful fellows will start chipping away again." Although Xiao Yang was filled with doubt, it was inappropriate for him to say anything when he heard this. All he could do was to nod his head. He Qing's large hand was randomly waved when he saw this situation. The empty space in front of him also formed a crack line. After which, he took the lead to step into it in front of the many gazes. Xiao Yang and the rest behind hesitated for a moment before following him into it. After the final person stepped into the spatial crack line, He Qing's cold cry rumbled from the crack line, and resounded by the ears of everyone from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. "Humph, Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe, all of you better hold back a little when you do anything from now on. Do not really think that just because my ancient void dragon will not appear. Our tribe is not even afraid of the ancient Heaven Phoenix, much less you descendants who relies on the inheritance of the Heaven Phoenix blood." The expression of Huang Xian's group became unusually ugly when they heard this cry that was filled with a dense threat. Everyone from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe looked at each other after seeing Xiao Yang's group vanishing into the spatial crack line. None of them dared to open their mouth to stop Xiao Yang's group. "Elder Huang, are we going to just allow them to leave with the Dragon Phoenix origin fruit?" That white-haired man clenched his teeth and spoke with a face that was extremely unwilling. "Do you have any solution? Are you going to charge forward and risk your life to fight with that person? It is likely that we will not be able to hurt him even if all of us here end up dying." Huang Xian's heart was currently filled with fury. A duck that had reached his mouth had ended up flying away. Moreover, it had violently gave him 2 slaps before flying away. How could it allow him to be calm? Unexpectedly, that little girl is actually from the ancient Void Dragon tribe. If it is not for her, that Dragon Phoenix origin fruit would have been in the bag of my Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. Feng Qing clenched her silver teeth gently and said, "Moreover, this time around, the tribe has dispatched so many experts over. If we end up returning in failure." Huang Xian inhaled a couple of deep breaths. Their strength had caused him to calm down. A moment later, his gaze turned. He suddenly turned around and walked towards the corridor. "Elder Huang." Feng Qing's group was startled when they saw this. "Let's go, we will return to the beast's spiritual barrier, and shift the skeleton of the Heaven Phoenix back. We cannot return empty-handed no matter what. With these things, we can at least block the mouths of some people, regardless of whether it is useful." Huang Xian's expression was gloomy. He waved his sleeve and strided towards the corridor. Feng Qing and the others behind could only follow. Those skeletons had already experienced countless number of years. It had already become waste. It was likely useless even if they were to bring it back. Old Ghost Jai Xing also had a dark and cold expression, as he watched the members of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe leaving quickly. His eyes stared at the spot where Xiao Yang's group had disappeared and spoke in a dense voice, "Xiao Yang, just you wait. We will meet again soon. At that time, you and the Falling Star Pavilion will be completely destroyed." Old Ghost Jai Xing ceased remaining any longer after his vicious voice sounded. He turned his body and rushed towards the exit of the remains. The space on a mountain top that was 50 kilometers from the Bone Mountain range suddenly fluctuated. Immediately, a dark black spatial crack line suddenly appeared. Numerous figures rushed out from within it. "Thank you, Elder He Qing, for your help." Xiao Yang cupped his hands towards the strong large man, and laughed after having landed his feet on the mountain top. It's nothing. Before I left, those old fellows from the tribe has instructed me to thank you for taking care of Xiao Yan during these years. My ancient void dragon tribe will return this favor to you if we have the chance. He Qing waved his hand and said, Elder He Qing is too polite. I view Xiao Yan like a younger sister. Taking care of her is something that I ought to do. Xiao Yan spoke in a solemn manner. He was unaware that the latter would have such a status when he was acquainted with Xiao Yan back then. At that time, he completely felt that this girl was cute and suit his taste. It was this reason that he had taken great care of her. This girl's status is a little special. She is exceptionally important to my tribe. Therefore nothing much happened to her. You are able to safely bring her to the Central Plains and allowed her to contact the tribe. This can be considered a great favor to us. He Qing glanced at Xiao Yan by the side before shaking his head and said, All right, I will not talk to you about this manner. He Qing here and He Qing there, even I feel irritated. In any case, the ancient void dragon tribe will return you a favor in the future. This place is some distance away from the Bone Mountain range. At that time, all of you only need to head east and you can leave the beast region. However, Xiao Yan must return with me to the tribe this time around. Why? I will not return. That place is not the least bit fun. Xiao Yan knitted her bent eyebrows. She shook her head as though it was some great matter. It is useless to tell me this. This time around, it is an order issued by those old fellows. They said that you have had enough fun. You have yet to complete the ancient dragon inheritance. This time around, you must complete the inheritance before you can come out. Moreover, you have currently discovered the dragon phoenix origin fruit. You are also needed to handle this thing. He Qing spread his hand and said. Xiao Yan's small face was filled with bitterness, as well as an unwillingness. With your current strength, you will only be his burden if you follow beside Xiao Yan. You might end up burdening them until something unexpected happens one day. This is not something that you are happy to see, right? He Qing smilingly said. Once you complete the inheritance, your strength will definitely soar. At that time, no one will stop you from coming out. You can come and find Xiao Yan's group, and can even truly help them. Xiao Yan was startled when she heard this. She immediately lowered her head in a dispirited manner and said, All right, you win. I will return with you. Xiao Yan glanced at He Qing. This fellow might appear rough, but he was also quite cunning. His words had struck directly on Xiao Yan's weak spot, causing her to have no choice but to summit. He Qing appeared to have sensed Xiao Yan's thoughts. He parted his mouth and smiled at him. After which, his gaze turned towards Xiongzhon and said, This big fellow should also leave with B. Ancient Dragon Bear. Back then, it is also a tribe affiliated with our ancient void dragon. Follow me back and you will obtain quite a great amount of benefit. I will listen to Elder He Qing's orders. Xiongzhon rubbed his head and laughed in a silly manner. He was unable to form any resistance in front of a matured ancient void dragon. In that case, we should separate here. Xiao Yan cupped his hands together and smilingly said. Xiao Yan, you should train properly. Little fairy doctor rubbed Xiao Yan's head and smilingly said. The latter could only nod her head dispiritedly. Before I leave, I should remind you to be careful of the Hall of Soul. Currently, all of you can be considered to be enemies with them. You should be more careful. Do not allow yourself to land in their hands. He Qing nodded, hesitated for a moment and suddenly said. My father is still in their hands. I must rescue him no matter what, Xiao Yan softly replied. He Qing was startled. He immediately nodded quietly and said, In the case, I shall not say any more. Let's say our goodbyes here. After saying this, the space around He Qing became distorted. A spatial crack line once again appeared. Part 1 end here.